The archetype of spam wrestler has been a very successful and hard to deal with style in MMA. The spam wrestler doesn't mind if you get back up because they will just continue shooting takedowns. The constant threat of the takedowns lessens their opponent's striking, and that's when they can start landing on the feet. But in MMA, no style is unbeatable. So in today's video, we will look at the performance of Charles Oliveira this past weekend to help answer the question of, how do you beat a spam wrestler? Pressure. The spam wrestling archetype varies slightly from fighter to fighter, but one consistency is the preference of going forward. A spam wrestler is at their best when they can push their opponent back against the fence and attempt takedowns on their terms. This is why pressuring the spam wrestler backward is very important. Usually, the spam wrestler isn't the biggest knockout threat in the world, but the threat of the takedown is what gets their opponents backing up. This is a mistake though. If you can effectively pressure the spam wrestler, suddenly they have to attempt takedowns on your terms. The spam wrestler's best option when getting pressured is the reactive takedown, something GSP mastered, but this cannot deter you from pressure. The mindset when fighting a spam wrestler cannot be, I can't let him get me down. This is also why when pressuring, we should be throwing front kicks to the body and low kicks, not worrying about them catching it and taking us down. Constant submission threat. In Oliveira's bout against Gamrot, just past the 30-second mark, Gamrot attempted a takedown. Immediately, Oliveira countered by threatening an arm-in guillotine. The benefit of the arm-in guillotine is if your opponent is able to pop their head out, as Gamrot does here, you will still have the overhook. The overhook is the opposite of an underhook, and it serves the purpose in this position of trapping one of Gamrot's arms to eliminate its striking ability, while also controlling his posture. Oliveira uses the overhook in many of his fights as a starting position from the guard. You see here, Oliveira's tight overhook keeps Gamrot's posture broken and his shoulder in a vulnerable position. Oliveira angles off to his own right and attacks with an omoplata. Although it doesn't result in a submission, a concept we speak about all the time, coincidentally about spam wrestlers, appears. It doesn't have to be successful, as long as it puts your opponent on defense. When Gamrot is forced to defend against the submission, he is losing the exchange and having no opportunity to throw damaging strikes from what should be an advantageous position. Of course, the threat of succeeding with the submission is always there, so Gamrot must respect it. And it doesn't just stop after one attempt. Gamrot escapes the position, but decides to re-enter the grappling exchange. So Oliveira gets right back to it. Overhook with the right arm, angle to the right, and threaten the omoplata, constantly putting Gamrot on defense, which leads to Gamrot making a mistake, and Oliveira ending up in top position. After securing a first-round win through the grappling exchanges, the spam wrestler, Gamrot, is now discouraged from attempting takedowns, and his A-game is completely disrupted. He now must rely on the striking without the threat of the takedown, and Oliveira beautifully presses forward and feels so confident in the grappling that he initiates it, takes Gamrot down, and gets the rear naked choke. Even if you aren't a jiu-jitsu ace like Charles Oliveira, if you can develop an effective attacking system from the bottom position, you can work to discourage the spam wrestler from wrestling, and then you can start tuning them up on the feet. So today we discussed how Oliveira approached beating the spam wrestling style through pressure on the feet and threatening submissions on the ground. Will this be the way to potentially dethrone Merab? And if so, who could implement this style in the bantamweight division?